What's poppin'? Welcome back to I Do It Myself. Today's Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. Let's just talk about life for a second and the internet and everything that's going on when it comes to streaming, content, saying things. Essentially, a lot of people get paid to think and speak, but most people don't think before they speak, right? Which leads me to my topic today, academics. Academics went viral for talking with some kid. You know what I'm saying? I know the kid Plaque Boy Max. He's been popping off with everything he has going on, and I like what he's doing because it's kind of centered around music. I've never sat and watched the whole stream, but I do like the fact that it's like kind of it's the foundation of what he's doing is music, right? He's a producer. He puts together these rooms. They make records. They have fun. They tell jokes. Sometimes it gets a little bit out of hand, but streaming, right? Streaming is something that I've been trying to figure out myself. But at the same time, like the shit be type fake weird to me because I get people, from everywhere talking. It's kind of like the chat rooms. So when I was a teenager and I was on dial up, that's how much of a dinosaur I am. When I was on AOL dial up or Yahoo chat rooms back in like 98, I'm saying 99, it was just we just typing. They used to have like the chat rooms that you could call and everybody would sit in the chat room and talk. I didn't never do that. A lot of people when I was in high school used to talk about how they used to be on there, but I never really got into it. But any person from any place could call in, they could talk. You don't have to show your face. Anybody could say anything. So while we would like to pretend as if the internet is this new thing because we can see it visually, this shit been going on since the beginning of the internet's conception as far as people trolling, talking crazy. And when I say trolling, I'm not making no excuses for no academics or nothing because the biggest misconception that I get is, of course, I know a lot of people's introduction to me is me being on everyday struggle and seeing me and seeing academics, but I lived a life and I was from a certain way and all of that before I was on the internet doing what I'm doing today. I say that to say this. I don't be getting none of this shit. You know what I'm saying? I get the dark humor sometimes because on the block we got a lot of dark humor. In the barbershop we got a lot of dark humor. You know what I'm saying? We play around. Sometimes we play too much. But when it comes to like saying certain shit with kids, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. But also, I always see people say, oh, you need to check them or check them. Bro, I don't be talking to these niggas, bro. Sis, whomever, however you identify. I don't be talking to these niggas. I'm just keeping it 1,000 with y'all. Like, it comes to like this space where like I accept the fact that I'm building a new space and career for myself on the internet, right? Doing my own thing. Like I get that, I understand that. Oh, that's cool. But sometimes like I be sometimes not forgetting where I come from, but having conversations with certain people. Like today, I talked to my big bro Cat today. We was on the phone for like 2 hours. He like a big brother to me. Somebody I was running behind in the street when I was a kid. He ended up going to prison for like 14 years. You know what I'm saying? And we just was having conversations about life and parenting, and how old do we getting, and just different people we might not see eye to eye with. And it just opened up my eyes to the internet a little bit, you know what I mean, more than it usually is. And it made me say, like, I'm not cut from the same cloth that a lot of people is cut from. That don't mean that motherfuckers don't walk into the store and want their cloth, because a lot of people want that cloth. But I'm just not cut from certain clothes. So when I see like certain things said or certain things displayed, it don't make me question like it don't make me question how could I say, not my space like where that I'm in. It makes me look at like affiliations and people always are gonna group you in together, right? People accept you how they meet you, how they met you. I always say that. People accept you how they met you. I always look at Ken and Ryu as street fighters because that's how I met them. If somebody tried to do a movie of Ken and Ryu being in corporate America, I probably wouldn't watch that shit, right? But I just be thinking, like when it comes to academics, mad people always are like, yo, he need to be he's like an immovable object. It's nothing that nobody could do. Like the only way I feel like could be, I'm not calling for him to be canceled, but like people was like wishing for this day that this nigga just disappears and never comes back ever again. But the only way that would happen is if something horrible happened on camera that was like unforgivable. And not saying that I'm not saying I want that. I'm just saying it's like when I look at him and how he operates, you gotta remember, he's the person who, like all these other streamers, I feel like they followed his path, and then some of them like they chose their own way to go with the shit. Like, oh nah, I ain't gonna do that, but I'm gonna do this, or I'm not gonna do this, but I'm gonna do it this way, or I'm gonna add this or add that. And you see a little bit of him pausing everybody else. But like just certain shit, like just this clip for instance, it just don't make no sense to me, right? Like,
You know, I love Max so much. Like, should I suck a dick for Max? You know what I mean? And now we're like,
What?
this is it's not that drastic, but it gets to that point where like now we're almost like, yo, how much do you love this guy?
so I just like, all right. Again, it's cool for two dudes from two different walks of life to have conversation about whatever and do that publicly so that they could display their talents of takes, right? Because that's what it's all about. Oh, your take is trash, or your take is hot, or your take is like prolific, whatever the case may be. But I just feel like in today's day and age, it's way too much dick talk. Like, why is niggas talking about dick so much? Like, I never seen a time in my life, and people wonder why we say pause. Like, all right, listen, I'm just from Harlem. That's just a game that we play, and because it's a game that we play so much, like sometimes we just say it just because that's how we talk. But I don't understand why niggas just be talking about dick so much like that. Like shit to say like that, not even funny to me. It's not funny, and this is not a bash act campaign. This is just you know, why don't you check him? Check him. Check him. Like I'm supposed to go knock on this nigga door, kick the door down, wake him up out the bed, and say, you need to stop acting like this on the internet. I'm not this nigga father. Like I'm not his father, bro. And again, like I said, the relationship that a lot of people think that we have, we don't actually have. Now we don't have no beef. I don't have a beef with him. I mean, we have a work relationship. Actually, me and one of Act's older brothers got more of a relationship than me and Act. You know what I'm saying? And Act is also a person that, like, I've because he's known what it is that I'm trying to get into with the streaming and all of that shit, I've leaned on him for advice. I don't always get that advice. You know what I'm saying? I don't always get that advice, but I've contacted him and leaned on. And you know, when the Kendrick Drake shit popped off, like, he put me on the stream. It got people to follow me on Twitch and all of that, which is cool. I appreciate that. I'm just saying that when it comes to a lot of this internet shit, I be realizing that I'm really just a nigga from 119th for Lexington because I get put into this box, right? And I don't want to put myself in a box from that. If you don't know, the 119 on my name is from 119th. But I get put into this box of like, oh, you're a journalist, so I'm supposed to conduct myself a certain way. Or you're a media figure, so you're supposed to conduct yourself a certain type of way. Or you this, so you that, so you got to do this, and you that, so you got to do this. I don't really care about what none of this shit that people be saying. I just give my opinion on it because some of y'all like it and some of y'all can't stand it. Either way, I appreciate y'all watching. But it just dawns on me sometimes that, like, you know, when I was a younger man, like I dead ass believe, like when I was like 15 years old, I dead thought of like being 25, and I thought of like being a 25-year-old man was like a man, right? Because in entertainment, all of the examples that I had when I was a kid was like grown ass men. You know what I mean? Like a Tupac. Well, I mean, he's not the best example of what to just be like because he's an artist. I don't think that most kids should aspire to be like artists, right? But or Biggie. It's just like the words that they says, the way that they conducted themselves. And maybe when I got older, I was like, they was on some bullshit too. But it's just some of the ways that they conducted themselves. Some of the men that I seen in my neighborhood, some of the men that I seen on television, from a Wesley Snipes to a Bill Cosby to a Martin Lawrence to who else I could think of? A Will Smith. When I knew that these men were a certain age, I said, oh, that's what a man is. And then if you're in entertainment, like, of course, I'm one of them kids that used to believe that Arnold Schwarzenegger was the same person in one movie that he was in all until I understood what acting was. But I really said, like, yo, I aspire to be a man, right? And as a man, I aspire to be responsible, accountable, relatable. And this is when I was a kid, you know what I'm saying? Strong, you know what I mean? Funny, can make decisions, can lead. Like, those are the things I aspire to do. And one thing I noticed about being on the internet is that, like, all of that shit that I kind of thought of, it's not the prettiest shit to be, right? Like, it's like when you, I don't know, maybe I just haven't hit that stride yet, but like when you growing and aspiring to be something, and I think that you should always do that. I think that there's no like final level of growing as an adult. Like as you get older, you find new things you want to do, new things you're excited about, new things you want to learn. But on the internet, it's like this shit is just about being like Shaq and a fool. Like for real, it's about just being like clownish behavior almost. It's like almost everybody, because it garners hits, it garners views, it garners people to say, oh well, he's popping, like that's popping or that's lit, and the views get you numbers and the numbers get you revenue. It's like the most important thing you could do is just play around. And sometimes I just don't be wanting to play around. Sometimes I just don't even be wanting to talk about half the shit that there is to talk about, because, and I think that that's kind of what holds me back as being a creator, because it's sometimes where I want to talk about things and then sometimes I be like, I don't want to talk about that shit because it's just stupid to me. Because there's a million things you could talk about on a daily basis. And maybe I'm not going to say I'm not working hard enough, but sometimes I just see myself as like, fuck am I, like, what am I don't know, like, I know my purpose. I know what I'm doing this for. I know that I have like-minded people, like the ones that, you know, are liking and sharing and subscribing this video right now. Like, I know that y'all like get it, but sometimes I be like, this shit trash. Like on some G shit, like this shit trash. Like I go on and I see though YouTube, like it's crazy. I don't even be watching TV as much as I used to. I be watching like YouTube and shit. And I go in there and I be seeing like all these like former, that's what me and my man was talking about today, like all of these like old gang members that all they do is talk down on each other. Like all they do is act like kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, everybody's tough. Like everybody's like this tough and impenetrable, like you can't harm. Like everybody never took a loss. Like all everybody talk about is like how much they win or how much they know or how good they are. And nobody really admits that they don't know shit. And that's like 90% of the people that's on the internet. Maybe 90 is a lot. Maybe I just don't know the other ones that really know shit, but it's like the shit that I see, maybe that's just my algorithm. You are what you consume, and maybe the stuff that I consume is just fuckery. It's just dumb shit. It's just stupid. It's just like all these ridiculous conversations about nothing. All of these women popping balloons talking about, like I seen a video of this dude, he was like all the stereotypical shit that a woman said they wanted on the internet a couple years ago. Tall, dark skinned, good looking, pause. And I'm comfortable with myself. He was a good looking brother, muscular, like long hair, beard. All, and I'm like, and they was just, I don't like you because you smile too much. I don't like you because your pants is high with it. Like, are y'all bitches on there for love, or are y'all just on there to be seen? Are we in a society of people that's actually looking for stuff, or are they just looking to be seen? I think it's just people that's looking to be seen. I mean, shit, I'm a hypocrite because I want to be seen too. I just want to be seen for the stuff that I like to talk about. And some of the stuff that I like to talk about just ain't the most popular things to talk about, which is fine. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I mess with the people who mess with me. End of the day, like, it don't really bother me. Like, I love that I talk about music and I talk about life and I talk about, like, being accountable and all of these types of things. But a lot of people is just, like, cornballs, yo. Like, they just cornballs. And they just want to, like, it's like if I go on IG Live, right? It's times where I go on IG Live and then somebody, like, it's probably, like, a old artist of mine's friend, or an old person, a fan of an old artist I used to manage, will just get up on there and say some disrespectful shit. And I ain't gonna lie, the internet is the only place where a nigga can hit you with a rock from anywhere. Cause sometimes you don't let it get to you, but every now and then they might say something and you be like, nah, I want to say something to that person. And then you get caught up in this moment of you, because people look at you as like, if you are deemed as successful, as you have clout or followers or views or whatever, that you're above like responding to disrespect. I'm never above responding to disrespect. I mean, I'm not going to indulge as much, but I do want everybody to know at the point, if you outside and you see me somewhere and you disrespect me, I will beat you up. And that's this not even me being a tough guy. If you play with me like that in my face, I'll beat you up. But, you know, regardless to any of that, I like to be a representation of what I said or what I thought a man is when I was coming up. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we stronger together. I feel like we better building one another and helping one another. But unfortunately, the demise is the cutest part of things, right? It's like, or the negativity is the cutest part of things. It's kind of like when I did that J. Cole video, right? Like the only thing that was sought out in that video was me saying that I felt that it was people I had. No, I ain't feel. It was people that I had conversations with that said that Kendrick was overrated, and it was like that's all it was about. It wasn't about my critique of the song, and it was like the same shit that was the critique of like the what's that of damn, what was that? Forget it, whatever. But it was just like a critique of the song, like, you know what I mean? It's like I could, how everybody said, oh, you only listen to the Drake part, you ain't really hearing the song when he apologized to Drake. It's like now I kind of get it, you know what I'm saying? I understand. But other than that, I just been rambling on. But let's briefly talk about this ASAP Rocky shit while it is a topic to speak about. I don't know, yo. ASAP, you know, he's on trial or heading trial for allegedly shooting one of his friends. There's a video. In the video, he has what appears to be a gun. His defense says that it's a prop gun. The friend got shot. Listen, this shit's just dumb to me, yo. I mean, the man is on trial. You know what I'm saying? The man is on trial for his life. You know what I'm saying? Because he's facing 24 years. Which the first thing I thought about when I thought of Rocky going to prison, I hope he doesn't. But remember that joke that Chris Rock said when he was talking about Michael Jackson? He said, when that perm starts sweating out, nah, I ain't, you know, salute to Rocky. And you know, I hope the best for him. I just don't know anymore, man, about any of this shit, man. Sometimes, like I said, this shit just be confusing. Like, it just be too much disrespect. It's too much, like, downing. And then them same people that say we hate the downing, we hate the disrespect, they don't really want to watch when you talking about nothing positive. I got to start getting with the positive people that got views. Nah, dead ass, yo. I got to get with the positive people that got views because I don't be knowing what none of this is anymore. What none of this is anymore. Aside from that, we will have the merch coming very soon. We had a couple of step backs last week, so give me a moment. The merch will be ready for y'all very soon, and I will be finishing my set so I can have these rants on stream as opposed to just you watching them. This is how I do it myself. For the ones that rock with me, you know how we doing. For the ones that don't, eventually you will, and if you don't, I don't care. Now I'm playing. Peace. I catch y'all later.